Hello and welcome back to another episode of Better with Abbie May. I am really excited to be back behind the mic this morning. I have had another week or 2 weeks off. I was actually just recently in Sydney doing a bunch of work with some of my clients. As you may or may not know, I am growing a social media / marketing agency consulting firm, and I have clients really both in the Gold Coast and Sydney, but I do have a large pool of clients in Sydney because that is where I'm from. I spent 26 years of my life growing up in Sydney, and I have a really strong network of really amazing business owners in Sydney, so it just made sense to also work with some of them. So I will be traveling down quite often to go visit clients, but I also get the opportunity to spend with my best friends as well. So I recently just got back, and last week I was in a little bit of catch-up mode, and then this week just back into my normal routine. I live here in the Gold Coast, which, to kind of dive straight into what this whole episode is about, and I'm sure you can tell by the title, I moved to the Gold Coast in chase of my dream life, in chase of a life that served me every single day, rather than living a life where I waited for certain events or things to happen to feel like I was happy. And no, I don't want to put down my happiness to the location of this place either. But I could tell living in Sydney, I was born there, I was raised there, and there was a big part of me missing that. One, I wanted to be closer to the ocean. I actually lived more towards the western Sydney suburbs, if you know Sydney / Australia. But I wanted to move closer to the ocean, and Gold Coast was always a holiday destination for me. I had family that grew up here, and it was always a vision board item. I wanted to be living in the Gold Coast. I wanted to be here, be a part of it. I knew it was like a town of entrepreneurs, online entrepreneurs, and I felt like something about that life just aligned so much to me. So yeah, I live my normal routine here in the Gold Coast, but this episode, it is something that actually has me quite excited, and I've kind of switched tunes as soon as I've sat in this chair and started talking. I've had a little bit of a morning, I'm not gonna lie. I'm always my aim is to always keep it honest with you guys. I am in my luteal phase, which obviously means Shark Week's around the corner, so there is that happening. I had about 4 hours of sleep last night, had a coffee way too late trying to get some work done, and had a terrible sleep, still woke up at my 4:20 a.m. alarm, went to the gym, and I was feeling it a little bit this morning. I felt a little bit anxious. I was on the phone to my best friend thinking I said the words to her, I just want to crawl back in bed today because I am not feeling it. But I had this episode planned for a while, and I have had a few recent conversations with people that are really, really close to me. And it's just kind of made me more motivated to get in here and actually have this conversation and share the content of what this is worth, because whilst you can listen to so many different people talk about how to achieve their dream life, I still feel like you can pull different perspectives from everyone's story. And I feel like I can talk about this with so much confidence because I genuinely am living my dream. I had the life that I am living on my vision board for about 5 years. I dreamt of this. This was everything I wanted. And I'm in this crazy stage of my life where, yes, I'm building towards something. Yes, I'm growing a business. I'm growing a podcast. I am here doing a few different things. But there's also so much contentment and peace within me because I know what I'm doing right now is what I wanted. This growth and this early stage of business and this journey, this is the life that I dreamed about myself ever since I was a young girl. I used to tell people I wanted to be a CEO. I wanted to be a business owner. I wanted to be a founder. That was something that excited me ever since I was in high school. And here I am doing it. And it's kind of a crazy feeling that every day I get to walk around, I get to go on my morning walk in the Gold Coast. I live in a beautiful location. I am building a business which has momentum and there's things happening and finance is going up and there is reputation that is being built and I'm growing team members, I'm building partnerships, building relationships. All of that is happening, but it's like none of it I am too focused on either. I am not letting any of it be there, be all and end all. I know I need money to live. Like, I am a single girl in my late 20s. I need to start thinking about my future a little bit more seriously, where before I almost, like, my past 5 years of life, I can confidently say I don't have much savings behind me, because I've lived life to the fullest. I've always done the Europe trip. I did a bodybuilding prep, and if you're from that world, you know how expensive those are. But I have always lived life to the fullest, which means I am not in any position where I will be buying a house anytime soon. No, actually, I take that back. That could change. Everything could change for me this year. But the salary that I was on, I knew that, like, the patterns of my behaviors, I was not in that position. So yeah, this time last year, I was a full-time employee. I was working at a leading content agency, you could call it, in Sydney. It is an agency that has definitely built and has a lot of momentum behind it. When I started, there was a little team of 3, and then we built up to a team of about 25 employees full-time. I think they've grown even bigger since, but I loved the job at the time. But I guess a little bit about my past and my history was I come from a life, call it my late teens, my early 20s. I come from a decade of being tormented by my own voice in my head, tormented by anxiety, riddled with seasons of depression and really low lack of self-worth. I went through maybe a 2 or 3 year period where I drowned a lot of that with alcohol, with drugs, with poor relationships, poor choices, poor decisions with men. And it took a large toll on me. I was stuck in this rut. I was living for the weekend. And when I say weekends, even Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, I was going out sometimes. Friday night, Saturday night, of course. Sunday, there was a Sunday session. The next festival was the thing that got me through that month. What festival was coming up, what lineup is dropping. And I was just caught up in this hype of essentially just drowning out my potential. And it took a long time for me to realize that and get a grip and realize that I was not living a life that aligned to me and aligned to my future potential that I knew I did have somewhere in there. I think I felt always tormented because I was living a life that didn't align to me. Now, I am not going to sit here and tell anyone that you are wrong for choosing a life that is surrounded by parties and, really fun dopamine hits, because I get it. Like, it is enjoyable. You can meet really good friends and you can absolutely make careers and things that kind of work well in that environment. But for me as an individual who comes from this history of aspiring to be a leader, aspiring to be someone that has a business and makes really good connections. And I think I knew, even as a young girl, I tried out for school captain. I was always wanting to be I didn't get school captain in high school or primary school. Broke my heart both times. But it is that feeling of going for school captain, loving public speaking, being really upset when I wasn't, elected as the captain. I was always in those leadership roles. Like, I was a born natural leader, and I can say that quite confidently. Always was, sports captain, whatever it is. So I knew I was a leader in the space, and I had a voice that I wanted to share and give influence to people. I knew, like, the way that I can show up quite confidently in myself, quite confidently in public spaces, I wanted to share that and use it for good. And where I was using it in the party scene was not good. That's not what I wanted to be, and that's not what I wanted to be doing. So we are going to really... So then I guess what happened was a turning point. There was a turning point for me where I realized this is not who I am. This is not where I want to be. And I knew I had a potential that I wanted to chase and I wanted to meet. And we're diving into exactly what this whole podcast episode is about, and why I wanted to talk about it was because I feel like I can give value in this conversation, because I moved from a position where I was tormented and I felt like the world was against me, and I made all the excuses that you might be making right now as you listen to this. I was in that position. I am now living my dream life, and that is one that is characterized by beautiful ocean, business, friends, meeting new people, and just fitness and doing everything that I want to be doing. So if you are listening to this episode, there is obviously part of you that think there is a dream life that I want to achieve, and you might be in a position where you feel a little bit stuck. You feel like it might be a little bit out of reach, and you don't know what the next moves are to get yourself there. How do you move yourself from the position that you're currently in and walk closer to a life that feels aligned to your highest potential? For me, the biggest moment was when I realized I need to change. People, and if you're listening to this and you have someone else in mind, you could tell someone 100 times that their potential is greater than what they are living at, but they will not care. They will not listen. It needs to come from within them. And if you feel like you are not living to your potential, the first person, the thing that is going to change and get you closer there is yourself. You need to have a conversation with yourself and decide that you don't want to be living the life that you are living right now, and you know that there is a potential there that is higher and greater than where you are. And to get there, the first person is you. Once you make the choice of, I am going to do the things I need to do to change my environment, to change my habits, to change my routine, to change my mindset, the things that I need to put in place start with me. And the moment that you make that decision, you will take steps getting yourself closer to your dream life or your greater potential, and it just snowballs. It has momentum. It compounds. The moment you start, things just keep happening, and I promise you, things will fall into place. So for myself, I guess one of the very first things after I made that conscious decision, I think I was journaling. I remember I used to go on these little walks, and one day I sat in the middle of this huge cricket pitch oval. Like, I used to walk all the way around it, but I walked right into the middle of this oval because I kind of wanted to be untouched. I didn't want anyone to come and disrupt me. So I sat in the middle of this oval, I pulled out a journal, and I just wrote down a bunch of things about my life that I did not feel aligned to. And I recommend doing this no matter what position that you're in. Journaling is, of course, one of the most powerful tools that you can do for reflection and for self-growth and development. But pulling out a journal and writing down a list of things that you are currently doing in your life. Now, these can be your habits, your routines, your environment, people you hang out with. Write down a list of things that just do not feel aligned to you. But in doing this, be kind to yourself. Do not sit there and criticize and judge and pull yourself down, because when you do, you are going to start this habit of negative self-talk. And I promise you, your future potential in your dream life, you are not somebody that has that negative self-talk. You talk to yourself in a way that is about lessons and mistakes as opposed to wrongdoings. That was one of the biggest turning points for me, was to stop tormenting myself for doing things that potentially didn't align, but rather just pull myself up on the behavior and reflect and figure out what I need to do to change that. So when you look at your dream life, I guess to better understand what you need to start doing, is you need a picture or a vision of what this dream life looks like. So I guess going back a few steps, even before I got that journal out, I was playing around with vision boards. I started playing around with vision boards, and I started looking into people who I inspired to be looked up to. I thought that they had potentially a life that I would align with better. And what I started to do was build out this vision board that felt extremely true and right for myself. But I made it not so much about the obvious things. I think when people vision board or vision board for the first time, they think about finance, relationships, their career, like the three very obvious things. I tried to dive more deeper into a feeling. I tried to find photos of people laughing, of environments, of work being done rather than a successful business. What did it look like when a founder or a CEO was in a room working on a business? What was that feeling? What did it look like when she was in meetings and collaborating and connecting with people? What did it look like when she was going on a date? What did it look like when she was in Europe with her best friends? Not just photos of Greece. Yes, you can do that, but you want to connect with the feeling. What does it feel like when you're in Greece with your best friends laughing and there's champagne? If you can build a vision board that really has you inspired and connected, because you look at these images and you can almost envision the laughter and the collaboration, the conversation, and the things that goes on in those moments, you're going to feel excited about it, connected to it. So I built my vision board with a bunch of different photos that I found online. Yes, I use Pinterest, but I also use photos from people that I looked up to, CEOs, founders, women entrepreneurs, family people. And I took moments of their real life because it was proof. It was giving my brain validation that these people have done it. And if they can do it, you can do it. A little bit of a tangent, but I have a tattoo on me that says, if not you, then who? And the reason I did that was because it was like a big moment for me in building this life that I'm currently living, where I was like, these people on my Instagram, these people on, social media, they are living this dream life because they woke up and they decided to. They put things in motion and they just said, enough's enough. I want to build this life, and they curated it themselves. And it was in that conversation with myself, I realized I could do the exact same thing. I could build the life that I wanted to, because if not me, who is going to do it? And who is to say that that person over there has a better chance than what I have? Everyone has their own circumstance. Everyone has, their own reasons for resistance, but work with the tools that you have and play the cards that you need to play to build that life. So you are sitting there and you are envisioning your dream life. You build a vision board, and now you also need to just connect with who that person is on a deeper level. How do they think? What are their habits? What is their morning routine? We have the brilliant power of AI right now, and I know there are direct ChatGPT prompts that you can use to talk to ChatGPT and say, this is the dream life, this is where I want to be and what I want to feel. Show me what my routine looks like. They can actually walk you through this whole process if you are someone that struggles to envision what that looks like. But you want to either sit with ChatGPT or sit with a pen and paper and write down a list, like you living that life that is on your vision board, that has all of those moments that you feel really aligned to. What does your mindset look like? What does your routine look like? What kind of healthy diet or, diet is that person eating? What are they doing for fitness? Really dive deeper into what that person looks like, and you can start to see some of these small steps are actually achievable in the position that you're already in. You don't have to wait 5 years, 10 years to get to this like magical position to start ticking off some of these routines and some of these habits. So when I was building out my list, it was obviously having an entrepreneur, having the family, fitness, like healthiness. Being by the ocean was such a huge thing for me. And I wrote down this list, and there was lots of things like would go on a morning walk by the ocean, would train every single day, would call her family often, would journal, would share her voice on platforms such as podcasts. Like all of those were just items in this list. And I realized quite quickly that I actually had access to a lot of this right now. I'm talking about a span of years. So obviously none of this happened overnight for me either, but there were things that I was able to tick and I was able to put into motion to go, I can actually be living a good portion of my dream life tomorrow if I wanted to. Like, I can put things into play where I can build to that a lot quicker than what I originally thought. When you think of your future potential and all of these things that may feel unrealistic, the more unrealistic the better, because I promise you there is nothing true about an unrealistic future potential. Anything is possible. And I mean that to my deepest core. Anything is possible. And so when you remember that and you put things into play just to do the tiny moments, the tiny habits, you start to get more energized by it. And the more energized you get, I feel like the more momentum you get and things just start happening. So going back to the lists, we've got our future potential, or what that vision or that image looks like in our heads. We've got a list of things that we want to stop doing, or maybe like stop aligning ourselves with. Again, that can be habits that you're currently doing, whether it's a bad diet, whether you're sleeping in. That could be people that you surround yourself with. It is so, so important to audit your environment, because there is that quote where, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And I promise that is so true. I'm not saying you have to stop being friends with people, but be selective with who you spend your majority of your time with, because you will start to reflect their values, reflect things that they do, reflect their habits. You want to be quite selective with who you give your energy to, especially in that phase of trying to build something and trying to hit goals that you want to hit. So we've got this list of things that we're going to stop doing. We want to now create a list of things that we might want to start doing. Now, this could be exactly what I was saying. When you look at your future potential and the habits that they're living, how can we implement some of these in our lives? Do we need to start waking up earlier? Do we need to sign up at a new gym, find a PT? Do we need to buy healthier groceries or work with a nutritionist to figure out what is the food that we should be fueling ourselves for better performance and better cognition? There are so many things that you can start implementing. It could be working with an accountant to figure out your finances. Even just doing things like community work, volunteering, practicing with using your voice, creating a platform, building a personal brand for yourself. Start putting some of these things into play. And then the last one is to look at a list of things that you want to continue doing. Because I promise you, the life that you're living, if you are thinking about this future potential, you're already doing some of the habits. Some of these things are already normal routine for you. And this is a really nice sort of process, I guess, to continue to be kinder to ourselves. We need to make sure that we are not just tormenting ourselves and criticizing ourselves, but look at the things that we currently do, the way that we currently show up, the conversations that we're currently having with friends, and say, I want to continue being this person because I like those aspects of myself. Yes, I want to start doing a few different habits and routines and having, different conversations. And I also want to stop some of this stuff that I am currently doing, but I want to continue showing up and, loving people the way that I love people. I want to continue laughing the way that I laugh. A lot of this is, a really good practice, like I said, to be kind to yourself and to make sure that we're still nurturing who we are as an individual, even though we're just being quite aware that some things need to change. Some things need to change for us in order to reach that future potential. So you've got this list, you've got these things, and now it's really just time to put everything into action. You've got a strong vision of who you are, who you would show up to be in your dream life, and what you need to do to get there. So I guess in terms of other pieces of advice, the things that definitely really moved the needle for me was just saying yes to opportunities, saying yes to things that felt right, even if it was a loss of time, a loss of resources, a loss of money. I wanted to participate in as much as I could, which felt like it was getting me closer to that life that I dreamed of. When you have a strong, clear picture of, what you want, I think it makes it quite easy to say yes and to say no to things. When you lack that clear identity of who you want to be, that is when you fall into that sort of rat trap of exactly where I was, and you're saying yes to the parties, you're saying yes to the festivals. Heck, I was even like instigating the parties. I was the one that was getting all my friends around and ready to go out because that's what I wanted to do. But that's because I lacked a clear picture of who I wanted to be. And without that, you don't feel like you're really doing anything wrong because, why not? I'm young and I can live for the weekend, and I can go out and drink and party and spend the whole day on Sunday hungover because I had nothing else to do. How often have you gone out on a Saturday night and you absolutely write yourself off because you think on the Sunday, oh, you have nothing to do anyway? Especially if you come from where I came from, which is that 9-to-5 routine and that 9-to-5 world. Well, now Sunday is like a day that feels so religious and precious and like important to me. Sunday is the day where I do all the things that I need to do to tick off the goals for my dream life. I meal prep, I grocery shop, I clean my apartment, I spend a good hour journaling, I go to the sauna. Like Sunday is my day where I reset because I know that I have this identity of who I want to be. And if I don't give myself that time and that energy on the Sunday, I go into the week feeling a little bit shaky. So it's that real clear disposition of a lack of identity, a lack of future goals versus a really strong, clear identity and knowing exactly who I want to be and how I want to show up. So yeah, you just need to start putting into play some of these things, saying yes to opportunities that feel like that is what your future you would say yes to. And I am so big on putting yourself in the right rooms, having the right conversations with the right people, because partnerships, relationships, connections, building those with people who have influence, people that have things that you idolize or you look up to, they are going to build your environment. And when you surround yourself in a garden bed of, flowers that you want to be like, you are very likely going to come up out of the garden bed as one of those flowers. Even if you are not on the exact same timeline, I think that's a big part of it. Have conversations with people and put yourself in the right room, but be okay with not being the best person there. Be okay with being the dumbest or the youngest person there. Like I love learning off people, and I love being the dumbest person in the room because there is so much to learn. There is so much to take in, to ask questions, and people love mentorship, especially people in leadership roles or they've achieved success of some sort. They love to share some of this success with people. It's a big part of, that feeling of success for them is that people want to learn from them. And I really discovered that. Like I love opening up conversations, connecting with people. I've connected with people on LinkedIn, on Instagram, in person. I'm quite a confident individual, so I'd just go up and have conversations with strangers. But some of these conversations have led me to such greater partnerships and relationships, and I couldn't recommend it more. So put yourself in the right rooms, say yes to things. And the last one is just do the hard things, because I think there is a large doing the hard things is what's going to give you the edge. Doing the hard things is what everyone else is not doing because it's hard. Yes, I get it. It's hard. Yes, I get it. You don't want to. Yes, I get it. You're tired. You're hungry. You feel like it's hard and people are judging you and it's scary. But do it, because that is where so many people stop. So many people stop at that roadblock and really always fall short. Like, think about how many people are on this planet and how many people must be falling short of what their future potential actually could be because they lack that identity, they lack that clarity of who that is, and they just lack that action. They didn't want to do the hard things. They may not have realized what the hard things were that needed to get them there. So even listening to this podcast and thinking, okay, I want to make a change and I want to take the steps, that's the first step. That's the first step to get yourself there. Make the change, put some things into motion, put some things into play, and do the hard things even when they feel hard, because everything that you want is on the other side of scary or cringy. I promise you that. When I heard that quote, I think it was almost groundbreaking to me, because the business that I'm building, it's scary. The podcast that I am trying to grow, I feel a little bit cringy. It feels a little bit cringy sometimes. I am posting on social media and I question myself. I get self-doubt, but everything that I want, the influence that I want to build, and this business that I want to build, it's on the other side of those things. So I'm going to keep showing up and I'm going to keep doing the things, because I have trust in the process. I think, thank God I did that bodybuilding season, because it shows you trust the freaking process. Put the plan into place and trust the process, because magic happens in the process and in the hard things and in the discipline, in the resistance. I am so passionate on this topic, because everyone has access to their future potential. Everyone has the capability to do what I have done and be living their dream life. Like, I am still 4 years shy of 30. I am still so young on the scheme of things, and it excites me that I am already so passionate and happy and fulfilled with the life that I am living, because the best is yet to come. Like, I still have the best years of business ahead of me. I am single, so I still have a whole ass family to hopefully one day grow. There's a few missing pieces there right now, but I trust the process and I trust my own timeline, and I know things will fall into play where I need them to fall into play. And I hope you listening to this feel the confidence and feel the passion, and spend some time with your thoughts. Be kind to yourself, but spend some time with your thoughts and have that straight up conversation of going, this is what I need to change. This is who I want to be. And this is the gap. This is how I'm going to get there. But I hope this podcast episode, this conversation, has given you some excitement, some power, some energy to go away and do all of this. My DMs are always open if you're listening to this. Abbie May on Instagram, ABBIEEMAY on Instagram. Please DM me. Let's have a conversation. Let's send some voice notes back, because it excites me. And I am so, I'm going to say the word again, passionate about this topic, that I would help anyone just through a conversation if I could. I wanted to build this podcast and this platform to do these things and share these topics and share these conversations. But I'm hoping to bring on a few guests in the coming episodes. Some are going to be business related, some are going to be more mindset related, because this is the stuff that keeps me excited. It keeps me going, and it honestly just feels like I am living my dream life. So if you did enjoy this episode, please share it on your stories, share it with a friend. It's definitely a podcast and a platform that I am hoping to grow, and will be putting more energy and time into growing this year. Would love to hear from you about any episodes or podcasts that you might want to hear